Welcome to TechCast, the podcast that quenches curiosity, powered by Q&A Markham. TechCast, where we deep dive into the exciting world of technology, bringing you the latest trends, innovations, and thought-provoking discussions. Join us on this exciting journey as we explore the boundless possibilities of technology.
Our guest today is Olawunmi Faduola, Presales Solution Partner, Platview Technologies. And we're going to talk about managed security service providers and their relevance in today's growing cybersecurity and threat context. Welcome, Olawunmi.
Thank you so much, Anita. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
It's a pleasure to be talking to you today. Tell me, Olawunmi, why are more organizations outsourcing cybersecurity to MSSPs rather than managing them in-house?
Okay, so it's a lot to unpack, especially when it comes to the way the cybersecurity threat landscape is at the moment. So MSSPs, the value of an MSSP in the first place is to provide convenience, right? Mm-hmm. And convenience not just when it comes to the technical people in question, but also when it comes to the financials, mm-hmm. when it comes to like setting up a cybersecurity scope or like a SOC, now a security operations center, can be a very stringent process. So what an MSSP does is that they provide that convenience of the company not having to worry about the technical resources, putting technical resources in place, right. Not have to worry about going through the licenses or subscribing for security solutions that will be responsible for securing the environment, and right. Also in terms of knowledge as well. When you have people, you have to also teach them or transfer knowledge to them on how to actually secure your environment. So as an MSSP or with an MSSP service, you don't have to, an organization doesn't have to worry about all that, stringent process and things like that. So it provides the convenience, it provides the peace of mind, and a good MSSP should be able to give you return on investment on that service that they are extending to your organization. So I think that's a big part of why a number of organizations are going the MSSP route as opposed to, building up the security teams internally as they should.
Right. Now, how do managed services help SMEs who may lack large IT teams?
Okay, so again, in this current diverse technology space that we are in now, in the last couple of years, it has changed dramatically, right? You have to worry about regulations. You have to worry about setting up frameworks in your organization. You also have to worry about securing those IT infrastructures that facilitates the business process in every organization. Right. So why I believe more companies are going the MSSP route or more SMEs are going the MSSP route is because they don't want to be worried about nitty-gritties that has to do with security. They want to be able to be confident that they have security in place and have something to show the regulatory bodies, be able, when it's time for auditing or to be certified, they want to have something to show that they are actually compliant. But they do not want to have to go through the process of setting up like a nerve center for security and things like that, because it takes a lot of money, like right. A lot of financial, has to go into setting it up. You have to think of the people as well, because at the end of the day, security is people, process, and technology, right? So you have to think of putting the technology in place. You have to think of putting the people in place, because typically an MSSP is supposed to provide a 24/7, 365 security on your infrastructure. Right. So imagine a team that just has like 3 people in IT. You don't have bandwidth to protect your infrastructure 24/7, 365, because at the end of the day, they're human beings. But setting up or acquiring a service of an MSSP, you can be confident that they have the people that can take shifts or to clear their business to protect your organization continuously. You have that. And you don't also have to worry about being or subscribing to the security tools that will be used to protect those IT infrastructure as well, because you're just acquiring or you're just onboarding their service for a period of time. It's a service subscription kind of scope. So it provides that convenience for them. And on top of that as well, you have to think about the knowledge.
Right.
There's a lot of security information out there, but not everyone knows how to apply it, especially in real world. But what MSSPs do is that they take it upon themselves to constantly train their security analysts or their security engineers so that they even know how to interpret all that information to further protect, the end users that are utilizing their service, as the case may be. So I believe that, managed services in this case, they take a very, important role in ensuring that whatever the size of the company, whether SMEs, whether SMB, even enterprises sometimes require MSSPs as well, right? Because at the end of the day, people, process, and technology has to be constantly available, right?
Right.
And they might have people in-house that can manage security. They would require a managed service that can just add on top of that security, because you can't have too much security. So I think SMEs that haven't started thinking about onboarding MSSP as security provider or their security partners to actually start thinking about it, because there's a lot of benefits to onboarding a provider that extends security in that regard.
Absolutely. Now let's come to something that is sort of discussed a lot these days. The difference between reactive threat response and proactive threat hunting. Tell us more about this, please.
Okay, so I think this conversation comes up a lot, especially in my line of business, because a lot of times, people would say you cannot protect what you do not know, right?
Correct.
And what makes you further be able to be confident that your IT infrastructure, your technology, your business as in scope is protected is for you to be prepared, right? And preparedness is is what determines if you're going to have business continuity, right? So for reactive threat response is you're not preparing yourself for what would happen, right? You're just putting things in place for providing solutions immediately they happen, just as they happen, no preparedness, nothing has been put in place for you to ensure that your business will continuously still be in business. So you're just reactive. When it happens, I would treat it. It's just if it happens kind of approach. But for proactive, you're preparing yourself for when it happens. So you're putting certain things in place, incident response plans, plan B, business continuity plans. You're putting things in place so that when it eventually happens, you are prepared to, solve the problem. You have tested your preparations, you have tested your incident response plans, and you are able to be confident that yes, when this issue actually happens, I am still going to remain in business. So if you're taking it from if you're a business-minded person, you know that the best route to go is to go the route of the proactive threat hunting, because you're not waiting for threat to come. You've actually prepared your infrastructure, you've prepared your business, you've prepared your people, you have processes in place to ensure that your business will continuously, be in business when, issues actually happen. So I think the cybersecurity threat landscape now has moved away from the reactive approach. I think how it has continuously worked for businesses that take security very, very seriously is having to put proactive steps in place to ensure that the security remain upheld in their businesses. So proactive threat hunting is the best route, and I think it's here to stay. There are a number of ways that you can go about it. It's not a one size fits all at the end of the day. So there are ways you can go about it. You can get threat intelligence. You can have digital management or digital risk management solutions in place. Where you get global information on, okay, what is going on in XYZ. You have a knowledge of maybe vulnerabilities that is going on within infrastructures. You have that understanding so that you can ensure that you are protected or that you've covered those loopholes before they then become detrimental, or before someone, maybe a cyber attacker, can gain access to those loopholes and just be detrimental to your business. So the proactive route is what would determine continuity in your business. So I think that's my thought about it. So to go back to your question on what the difference between the reactive threat response and the proactive threat response threat hunting is that for reactive, no preparedness. You lack preparedness, don't know what to do when it happens. You're just going with the flow. You cannot afford to go with the flow when it comes to security, right? So proactive threat hunting, you're actually hunting for those threats, getting fit, getting intelligence on how to harden your security, and then use that information to further harden your security at the end of the day, such that when issues actually happen, you already know how to go about solving those problems.
Let's come to the next question. How can MSSPs ensure trust, particularly when handling sensitive data across borders?
Okay, so it's a number of things as well. I think not like it was a couple of years ago when MSSP were reckless in the way they handle customer data. There's a lot of regulations, across borders now that, before you can even handle your end users information or end users sensitive information, there are lots of regulations that you have to see that you are adhering to, or that you even have at least proof that you are adhering to those regulations, right? For maybe you have customers that you're providing your services to in the EU. There's GDPR that speaks to data privacy. In Nigeria here, there's NDPR, right? Some MSSP has gone as far as also being certified by highly recognized standards like the ISO 27001. That's the Information Security Management System, to show that they are, they care about their customers' information, and they care to put frameworks in place to continuously provide top-notch services. So I think the way MSSPs can continuously show or ensure trust to their end users is to be transparent. You have to be transparent in what technologies are you utilizing, what processes do you have in place, what issues do the customers have, and how are they solving those issues for them, and then also being able to adhere to an SLA, that's a service level agreement. Typically, most MSSPs would have a support level agreement or a service level agreement. Every single thing should be transparent in that SLA, and you should be able to have consequences for an SLA breach as well, to show your customers that you are holding yourself accountable to if there is any issues concerning, what you're protecting or what you're seeking your service to protect in the organization. So transparency is one big part of, it's one big part of ensuring trust. Also, seeing that you're certified or that you are adhering to regulatory requirements, you can compliance on regulatory requirements and show proof that you're actually compliant, that the business is actually compliant, and also being able to show your customers that you're always there for them. So you have cases where customers, they are not able to attain or assign a particular budget to the business. Maybe they want to upscale or downscale. They should be able to trust you financially, that even regardless of if they're able to, procure the service for a particular amount at the time, you should be able to bend and be scalable and reliable, right, to your customers' needs, be it financial need, technology need, as the case may be. So I think the way you can, ensure your trust, ensure that your end customers trust your business is, again, to be compliant to regulatory requirements, to be transparent, and also be flexible and listen to your customers' needs.
Absolutely. Now, what's the ROI of managed security services versus building internal security infrastructure?
Please say that again.
What is the ROI of managed security services versus building internal security infrastructure? How would you compare the ROIs of both?
How would I quantify it? I would say both of them have their pros and their cons, right? So for having the MSSP manage your security, you have to worry about risk, being open to different types of third-party risk, of vendor risk, of supply chain risk, as the case may be.
Right.
The con side is that you have the managed service approach that enables you, rely on that company for a number of things that might be a stringent process to your own business, right? I mentioned earlier about people, the process, and the technology. Having to put all that in place can be very, very resource intensive, right? But an MSSP already have all those processes in place to see that all you're getting is a service and you can see what they are providing in black and white, right?
Right.
But then building an internal security infrastructure or security wing is also very important to have. Or if you cannot afford to have like a full team, at least afford to you can have one or two persons that understand security, that understand your infrastructure, that understands what to put in place. So it's not like a garbage in, garbage out thing. Maybe you onboard an MSSP, know what they're doing, and you don't have somebody to put them in check or to hold them accountable. That can be a problem. So I would say that both have their pros and cons. you get your return on investment on both.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think it's the synergy between the two that actually, makes more sense to me, because you have to have people internally that understand security. You can also extend or get the service of the MSSP and just, meet at a point. At the end of the day, what you're looking at is to secure your business and to ensure business continuity, right? So it's a thing of seeing the value in the two scenarios, seeing value in the both of them and bringing them together, synergize them, and it's going to be fantastic for businesses. So I know that there's been a lot of would I say lack of trust or bad lights when it comes to MSSP, where people don't want to onboard MSSP because they feel like, or not feel like, it's actually reality that you have to expose your skills or your information to third parties. At the end of the day, there are things that you can do to reduce the risk in that light, right? Not just say you're not going with MSSP at all because you don't want to be exposed. But like I mentioned when I was answering the question about the trust, if you have all those things in place in terms of transparency, accountability, SLA, being reliable and things like that, if you are able to find an MSSP partner that can provide you all that, and why not? You can onboard them and also build your team as well, and they work hand in hand.
I agree about the synergy between the two. That I think is where the balance or the whole concept falls into place. So that's very well put, actually. Now tell me, how can African MSSPs like Platview shape a global standard of excellence in cybersecurity services?
Okay, I think we are doing it already, right? So, Platview's sister company CyberShield, we are a managed security service provider that extends a number of services across different verticals. So, how African MSSP can shape is being able to be flexible in the verticals that they work with, right? In terms of being able to work with banking environments, health environments, government environments, manufacturing environments, don't have like a box, don't fit in a box, right? We, at the end of the day, in Africa here, we have our threat landscape is very different. We have the cyber criminals, the way they handle or they do their malicious activities or perpetrate cyber attacks is quite different when it comes to Africa. So one thing MSSP can do is to shape their service to meet Africa's needs, right? Understand threat landscape in Africa, understand, be able to think like the African cyber attacker or the South African hacker or African cyber criminal, know the loopholes to, fill so that, you can further protect your organization or your end customers, working with what is known within the African scope, because a lot of people, when it comes to cybersecurity, we are very much comfortable working with what the research that has been done in the EU, in the western part of the world, but not a lot of research is being done within the African space. And I think that blind spot is what we African businesses need to fill. We need to bridge that gap in being able to solve the problems for ourselves with the knowledge that we already have of ourselves, right? So using like a scenario of maybe something that is more prominent in the Western world and using that same, ideology in Africa will most likely not work. It can work to an extent, But if you're going through if you're using that other approach, I think you're still going to have a lot of blind spots. But being
Right.
able to get threat feeds, threat intelligence, threat information within our region and use that information to harden or strengthen the end users
Mm.
that are protecting their data, I think that is the best approach to do things. So we are shifting or moving away from the status quo of, okay, this is how a cyber attacker thinks. We know ourselves, we understand ourselves, we understand our
Mm.
threat landscape. What we
Right.
set should be
Right.
put to our own trade
Mm.
landscape and use that information or use the results to further, strengthen the businesses in Africa today. So I think shedding the spotlight on cyber shield again, we take a number of approaches to solve these kind of problems. For
Mm.
example, most of the tools that we utilize internally in cyber shield to extend our service are built by us because we put in research, we put in we do a lot in understanding what the customer needs, what the African mind needs, what the African customer needs, especially in Nigeria here, we're in Nigeria, we're in Ghana, we're in Syria, we are in a lot of parts in West Africa, being able to understand that this is what we need and building tools and building products that actually meets those needs is, what makes us different in cybershield. So we have services cutting across managed security operations center. We have the managed security information and events. That's the managed in the SIM as a service. We have the endpoint detection and response, managed detection and response. We have the vulnerability assessment and penetration testing as a service. We have incident response as a service as well. We do forensics analysis. Say there's an incident already, and you want to find out how that incident happened, and investigate where that issue is emanating from and solve the problem. We also offer services like that. We have bundles of services. So, and again, what makes us different is that we do not impose the services on you. You can start small, you can modularize our service before then you go to getting the entire services. So we're making that difference in being able to be scalable as a business and
Mm.
also being able to, meet our customers where they need it the most. So you already have XYZ technology and you want to, get our service on top of that technology that you already have. We won't impose that technology on you. Of course, we do our due diligence to ensure that that technology that you have is
Mm.
actually, top notch and doing the business and we can utilize it. If not, we would extend another technology for you, and you would definitely see that okay, this is different from what you already have. So we are very flexible and scalable, and
Mm.
out of everything, on top of everything, is that we are quite reliable because our service level
Right.
agreement is a mutually agreed upon documents that we share. We also have an incident management system that we built ourselves to hold ourselves accountable as well. So I can go on and on and on on, how Cyber Shield is
Mm.
different, but I would wrap up by saying this. Again, Africa can only move forward. We cannot lay our foundation on the what is already known. And this is
Right.
back on research from other parts of the world that does not particularly concern us. I think
Correct.
what we can do is, do more research on African threat landscape and
Mm.
build more technologies internally as well. Build those technologies to bridge that gap and to
Mm.
fix problems for ourselves. So it's a for us by us kind of approach. And that is what we are holding with our cyber shield service here at Platview. So I think I would close up there.
Right. I think that was a very sort of valid point that you brought there. That it's a bias for us, and it all sort of the bottom line is more awareness, more research on what the unique challenges are, what the unique opportunities are of the African market, and then sort of taking it
Exactly.
forward from there. So that was a very valid point. I think the conversation as a whole was very insightful, and you gave some really interesting perspectives into MSSPs and their relevance today and how they can help SMEs. And you give us insight into reactive threat response, proactive threat hunting. That was a very engaging and insightful conversation. Uh, Thank you so much, Olawunmi, for your time and for
Thank you.
talking
Thank you
to us.
so much, Anita. I think it was a pleasure to have this conversation, and I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
many more in the future, because there's a lot. This kind of conversations are very important, right? We have to
Absolutely.
sensitize ourselves, we have to talk about it, and we also have to hold ourselves accountable in where we are not doing so
Absolutely.
great, so we can get better collectively as a people. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to many more.